Ian for his deal analysis in Darlington.
Okay, so this is an HMO we've got an option on. It's a 6-bed end of terrace, as you can see, on 3 floors. Let's scroll down a bit, Charlie. Next page. Well, agreed purchase price £175,000. Current rental amount is 2,576. So over 6 rooms, that's £430 a room per month on average. It's well, I was going to say 6-bed. It's fully tenanted and cash flowing at the moment. So this is just a sort of a mock-up of the floor plan. There was no floor plan produced by the in the sales documents, so I've just knocked this up for purposes of an investor pack. Sorry, so you can see there's 2 bedrooms on the ground floor, 3 bedrooms on the ground floor, 2 on the next, and a sort of suite, a small kitchen, bedroom and lounge on the top floor. That's not quite to scale at all. There's a bathroom and a shower room at the back there. So each room has cooking facilities on sink in it. There are no en-suites, and as per the discussion this morning, the Darlington rules are for a house where there are no shared kitchen or living room, there should be 13.94 square metres for each room, which according to, as I said, there's no dimension floor plan. I thought we were a bit small to the rooms, but according to measurements taken by the surveyor on behalf of the vendors, they all match, and it's fully licensed. License expired in December, but they applied for a temporary extension, which is a 3-month license, and the council have no problem with that. And we have had some discussions with the local planning person, having got the name from the vendor of who they're talking to. So we don't think, apart from unless we're right proper people, I don't think there's a problem with licensing the actual property, or certainly not at the moment under the current rules. Situated in a residential area, it's mainly terraced properties in that area. It's a 15-minute walk from the Darlington Memorial, from the town centre, and from the Darlington Memorial Hospital. 25-minute walk to the railway station. Mixed owner occupancy. Yeah, that's right, perfect. So just an image there. That's roughly where the property is. Town centre here, Memorial Hospital just over there, station down here. I won't go on about Darlington, but it's. We were pleasantly surprised. We started looking at it from the investment area. It's got some, I think it's with the DEC, there's a complex of government departments that are moving in. It's got big employers such as Cummins, other large employers in the area, mainly employed workers. On the investor pack, I've got a few statistics here of what's going on in the local area. So mainly full-time employed people. This is quite specific to the postcode. Okay, Clive, you can scroll down. Yeah, it's housing types. It's mainly terraced housing in that area. Yeah, thanks. Housing occupancy, largely 1-person occupancy. I don't know whether that's driven by HMOs or what. Good to see
Driven by the girls are nice and
yeah. And scroll down a bit more, please, Clive. Yeah, and tenure. So it's a mix of owner-occupied, owner's mortgage, and some rented from the council, and mainly, as you can see, private rental here. So it sort of fits in. This HMO fits in with what's generally in the area. So investment summary. So I've 2 columns here, all based on current room rates. 175,000 purchase, 25% deposit. Stamp duty, solicitors' fees, that includes relicensing. It's £187 a room in Darlington, so it works out about £1,100 to license it. Refurbishment, as I say, it's currently fully occupied. It's not a high-class upmarket HMO. It's functional. As I say, fully occupied with blue-collar workers. So we put in an estimate of £16,000, and the idea would be that we would do up each room as and when it becomes vacant. We've got a few grand in there just to do bathrooms and things, which is the shared facilities and hallway. But basically everything's there. As I say, it's compliant licensing, so the fire alarms, the fire doors, etc. are all there. So total cash into the deal is 69,500. The rental. Quirking my numbers there, I don't understand that. Maybe the columns got switched over.
well, it was 2,576. So yes, you switched them.
So this is at the current room rents. 2,576. Mortgage 461. We've been quoted 3.94% on a 2-year deal with a 7% fee. So rolled the 7% into the mortgage value. So it's quite a low actual monthly outgoing for the mortgage. I've put £100 a room for bills. I think that's some Clive's put in. Not really got experience, not just taking it from the trainers as to what that is. I've got no practical experience of whether that's realistic or not. Maintenance and voids are to put in 4% void, which isn't very much. It's more than all Preston would advise. He tells us to put it 0. That allows 2 weeks to reoccupy a room for each room that becomes vacant, and a small amount for maintenance. So it comes out at, under the current scenario, £1,283 a month cash flow, which is a 22% return on investment. Having put in the £16,000 in those figures, we effectively could do this column without the 16,000 and end up with a higher number here, but having put the 16,000 in, we've allowed for a small uplift in rental. Just roll back to the top. Oh, no, it says it's on 5% rise is what I put in, and it comes out £1,400 with cash flow, 24% return on investment. There's a few, under that I explained about our investment opportunities that we put to people, which is basically a GIM model, which would be obviously our preferred. I'm putting the interest rates in here, that would be up for discussion. And the other idea was if anybody we found anybody with sufficient cash purchase there, buy it outright, remortgage quickly, and therefore leave 25% equity in, which could then be refunded. The idea behind that being it's hard to get investors' money in as a deposit if that's all you've got available. The mortgage company won't allow you to, but if you buy it as cash and then remortgage, we've had it one area, one broker said no, you can't do that. If there's been no uplift and no refund, we won't do it. Another broker has actually gone to the mortgage company and they've said, yeah, that'll be okay. That way we'd leave 25% in the deal, which we could refund from GIM money or for the initial investor. And the other opportunity was a straight 50-50 joint venture, whereby the investor would put in a circa £70,000 required. It would give around about 11% return on their investment, and after any refinancing over time, we go back to the investors to start with, and once their money was fully repaid, we would then charge for our services management or put it out to a separate management company. But in the initial agreement, it would be that we would do the management and the investment money in, and that would be a 50-50 joint venture. And then there are a few pictures, I believe, so these are just examples of the rooms. We had a few estate agents' pictures, which are the bottom two, which you can see how it was before it was when it had some, before the tenants were in, but basically obviously when it's fully occupied, you're in the whim of how the tenant street places. Yeah, so that was the deal. Any questions or observations on that?
I love the table that you've done that you were just talking us through. I think it's really thorough, and I thought it was really interesting how you included the refurb cost, even though it's over a staggered period, so you're almost giving a conservative number that way. I just think it's an interesting way of doing it. I had one comment on the interest for the mortgage, because I understand that the interest is really low because you've got this massive product fee, and I get the reason behind putting it on the mortgage. I totally understand that. I've always included the total cost as a true reflection of the lending, and it sounds like that might actually impact your numbers quite a bit if you've got a 7% product fee but then a really low interest rate. So I just would be curious, if I were you, to run it on total cost, because it's actually giving you a true reflection of the cost of lending and actually a true reflection of cash flow, because it's on the mortgage and it's super smart, and I would do it that way if the total cost was similar to a lower product fee and higher interest. But that would be my only observation on the numbers.
We were offered two options on the mortgage, and those are the only fees I had available. One was the 2-year and the 7% fee, and I totally get what you're saying. I had got in mind myself. And the other was 5% product fee, the 5-year fix, with 5 years a smaller product fee and a higher interest rate. You did the two against each other for which was better. One thing I would certainly ask if I was going for that product would be, is product transfer fee at the end. With a 2-year deal, you want to, if you can take another product, you can take it out and pay the rent fees, etc.
And if you're looking at just those two options, it might be worth going out to another broker as well.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
Those products, individual product fees and interest rates.
Does it work out roughly the same, or both of them? What we seem to be doing, mortgage brokers is dropping fees and dropping the monthly percentage and that bit on, but they work out around about the same, just to get you to where they want to go. Does it work out roughly, or have you done the calculations?
On the cash flow on that basis, it was better doing it with the 2-year fix. I'd also personally be more happy with the 2-year fix at the moment with interest rates doing what they're doing, but I certainly haven't finished exploring the mortgage market on that one as to whether there's a better product around.
I personally prefer the smaller monthly interest rate and adding on to the term as well.
Yeah.
And I would just be wary of 2-year.
Sorry?
I would really want to know the product that I was going to go on to after the 2-year, that if it is a product transfer, to incur such large costs if you're having to refinance, which is the usual scenario in the HMO world. You don't get very many product transfers without doing that.
Right.
So to be really careful on that. Because a lot of people forget that they're going to have to do a full refinance at the end of their fixed term, like full legals, everything all over again.
Double fees basically.
Yeah, it's really expensive and it's often not thought about. Which is why we always tend to go bridge and then on to 5 year. So, once we're happy and we've got as much out as we can, we'll go for 5 years without any more costs.
I've done our other properties on 5 years for that reason.
Yeah.
Right?
I've always struggled with refurbs, and as you heard from when I was up there, I don't want to do refurbs because sometimes I don't see the value. So here, I'm trying to understand what incremental rent you're getting for £16,000 worth of investments per annum. So there's a do nothing, you don't have to spend £16,000, you're going to get this much rent per month. Then there's I'm going to spend £16,000 now, how much of my rent's going up? And there's an ROI on that return on investment.
Yeah.
And that's how I would look at that. I would look at, I'm putting £16,000 down, but I'm getting £100 a year, £200 a year. How long is it going to take you to pay back that £16,000 investment? Is it worth doing? Or can I take that £16,000 and go invest it somewhere else and get a better return?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you that, it's worth looking at. I haven't looked at that. Partly, I think we just feel that the place needs a bit of an uplift. Therefore, we put the money in and we like to do it, so we feel more comfortable that it's a place that we're happy with. And the other thing is, it was only literally a wet finger in the air to put 5% on the rents, but we think from looking at the area, with 430 a month average on the current rooms, there's scope for 5%. It may be more, but yeah, I take what you're saying, it's worth looking at the payback on that.
But we've got to invest something every year just to because otherwise you like every other landlord, you let the next one do shit, and then in the end you've got to spend 40 grand to get it up, so 16 grand to own the property in that state is not really that much, so you've not got to think about it as in it's time to increase rent, it's keeping that place running, just maintaining it.
Maintenance.
Yeah, I mean, make a decision on whether you think £16,000 is saving a load of money in maintenance.
And also what I wanted to do, I wanted to present it like that so that any investor, with knowing that really what we think we need out of it is sort of circa £70,000. I wouldn't want to present it as a deal where we only need the 52 or whatever to get it over the line, and then probably haven't got the capital to do the refurb.
It's for you to think about it.
Yeah.
Definitely not saying change
Oh, yeah.
put it in investor. But how I try to think about things is what return am I getting for the incremental money I'm putting in? And I get the point about maintenance, of course. You need to factor that into that as well.
It's kind of like, you can call it maintenance, or you can call it like, I'm trying to hit this standard with my best friends.
Yeah.
But one other way of doing it, just a thought, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but I was talking with Aaron about a HMO portfolio, and it needed a lot of work, it was in a really tight state. And we were saying, well, in reality, it's really tenanted. It doesn't make sense to go in there right now, get everyone out and do a full refurb. Financially, like you're saying, it makes sense that when the rooms come up, you just gradually go, okay, I'm going to do the bathroom, 2 bathrooms this year, and X next year. He was saying the other way of running the deal, analysis, is just to put more into the maintenance figures, because that 16,000 might be spread over 3 years, for example. And then what you're doing is you're not taking an investor, you're not getting an investor and the 16,000, you're taking a reduced cash flow, and then you're not raising the money. So just another way of thinking or looking or structuring it.
Ian, what you're doing is saying, if you factor, let's say, 5% maintenance out of the cash flow, for example, instead of 5, just divide that 16,000 by 36 months, and it ends up, let's say, being 11% maintenance, for example. So instead of having a lump 16 grand, it's just a bit more of a maintenance taken from the cash flow every month.
Yeah.
That's what Aaron basically just suggested as another way to look at it.
I think my view on this is that going on with Christos is that it's very easy to set up a high standard and let it slip. And I think that we, over a period of time, have got to check ourselves and make sure that the standard that we set is carried on. And that investment and that planned maintenance has to be there. Because the last thing you want to do is end up with a product and a customer that's less good.
You compete against other people. You compete against other people. So if they're coming to your house and going to their customer's house, it's roughly the same price. Where can we go? I see it all the time in Coventry. The quality of the product of the house is getting better and better. Rents are going up slightly, but you see people missing out all the time. What's the difference? Let me have a look at yours. Money, you haven't spent anything. You haven't even paid for the walls. Stop using Magnolia, for God's sake.
Is that also because people have used some traditional art as like cash cows and they've been using the money all the time and not reinvested or stuff fund or because stuff needs doing all the time, but when they just use it as an income all the time.
How is this country over a long period, and I don't know most, how do you kids start? This country suffered with underinvestment for so long. We should all know the lesson. In Yorkshire they say quality will out, and that's true of everywhere. It's just said a different way. You've got to keep the standards up.
I've just worked out your 16 grand would be another £444 a month on your maintenance. But you wouldn't have the 16 grand.
That's the point.
Yeah. Have you put a finance figure in for the money you were looking to borrow?
No, that's the gross return. So basically, like I said, it was being a bit on 50-50 JV if you sort of circa 50% on their money.
Got it.
It's a great deal if you local, you manage this from local.
We're an hour away, and on the first one we look to manage ourselves.
And is this you planning to build a portfolio in the area? Okay, so it's kind of great. Even though the returns are good, you can get great returns, but you're looking at going to be there for a long time. So even if you're building a portfolio there, my question is, why do you have all the figures, all the graphs talking about the area, the rates, who lives there? Why is that?
Just to give people a feel for the area. I mean, to be honest, I've been telling investors about other people, and similar information was included in there. But it partially struck me when I read, what is this telling me? But I mean, I suppose it shows that it's not a standout property. It's not like you're trying to fit an HMO into an area where it's all bedroom detached or whatever else. But yeah, I agree.
I guess I would have liked to see just the demand. You've done the demand. You're going, okay, well, there's this much demand in the area. There's a ratio between 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. What people want and what's available. That might be more useful. I'm just saying it's just a lot of information that you could just. You know what you're doing, so you're going to invest in a great area anyway.
Obviously what it's doing is showing it's very professional.
Yes.
It may not need much, but it's showing that Ian and Cherry are professional in what they're doing. And that is and should be impressive to investors, because people that have made a lot of money, we have to have a bit of empathy here. People that have made a lot of money have done that not easily.
I mean, that's just from streetchecker.com, it's just the screenshots from that, right? So it's
it could be maybe more sophisticated, but it's a bloody good start.
Oh, I know. I just want to know why they're all that.
I agree with Rob, and also I think we need what we've got to show that you've done an expert research. But I think a little bit of focus on your spare room numbers that you did for your test advert, because Paul teaches us rightly so, if he teaches us anything, that it's in the numbers, and the numbers are not just the deal analysis, but they're also the demand. You want to know that the demand is several times more than the supply.
Yeah.
And there's enough
we haven't put it there, we're going to put it there.
Yeah.
We have run test adverts, and there seems to have been.
I just couldn't make sense. There's so much information. It's so difficult for me to make a decision based on that.
I didn't write this as a preparation to present to an audience. I wrote it for people to consider and talk to us. But yeah, I take it.
Well, good luck, man. It sounds like a good deal.
Just very quickly, just building on Alston's point, if I was to get this as an investor pack, I just want to see everything I need to know on one page. And then I wanted to dive into all the stats of the area and so on, and then you've got all the rest of it there as well. So just to make it easy for the investor, here's the stuff I need on the first page, and then you want to dig into your parts of tech.
Who are you targeting with your advertising? Because we're all saying we want lots of detail, but we're property people, and I wonder whether somebody with money to invest but isn't particularly into property is going to want that deep level of detail and will actually potentially turn them on. Are they not going to want to know the figures work, there's a market, you've got loads of demand?
It was a pack for whoever inquired, basically just to give them out that information.
I think on that point though, it's really important to tailor what you have towards the person who's asked for it. So I always tailor my packs to whoever it's asked for them. Because you don't need to, like you say, it's a really fair point that, for us it's interesting, but if you're talking to someone else, it's just what the list plays over. And so it's a good idea, I think, to always revisit these things and then jig them around depending on who you're sending it out to. So it appeals to them. And make the highlights at the front, the highlights of what they're looking at.
I don't think anybody's getting at what you've done. I think we're all mulling around our own brains how we would put ours together, and which is all good stuff. We really need to be thinking more about how we're all putting our investor packs together. I think, yeah, I agree with me. It gets tweaked for whoever you're sending it out to, doesn't it?
I think that's one point, and what Halsey and Raj and Steve basically were saying is sometimes too much. It's actually too much.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, if you tailor to certain people, they will just get lost in that information.
Companies all the people.
Yeah. I suppose what you're wanting is perhaps a punchy 1 or 2 page, this is the proposition. Below are more details if you want to know some of the background.
Could have brought more of the
And do it that way. Yeah, absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, your potential investor wants to know their investment is safe and it's going to make money.
And it's basically report writing rules, which we all should know.
And this is on the basis that we need a report, right? Because like, it depends on your approach. We would never produce a deal pack because it would always be like a sit-down with the investor where we go through the deals, we can control the conversation and the messaging and react to that. But ultimately, you stood up and you've given us a great deal. So, congratulations on giving us that.
What you're going to be doing is sending this pack, but then you're going to talk them through it anyway.
Well, that's it, yeah.
So it's just of interest.
Yeah, and it went the other way around to a certain extent because we got some inquiries from people and just said, oh, what's that about? And sent out just headline information in an email, and they were like, oh, have we got an investor pack with floor plan pictures, So,
And that kind of getting
But it's the starting point of it's 6-bed HMO, fully tenanted, and makes over 20% of return. That straight away, I'm interested. Oh, he's got some money.
Anyone else? Steve, did you have a step
I was just going to say that, like, we all bought into Aaron's course, some of us bought into Paul's course, some of us bought into Frank's course, and you get the headlines first, and then you meet them or you and Cherry as human beings, and you actually buy into you two as a couple to do the deal. So I don't know that you need to, excuse me, go into massive detail for the kind of deal that you all look at works for you. What you really want is that it attracts them enough that they get on the phone to you or message you and say, can we have a coffee at the jam?
But Stephen, that's absolutely true. It's marketing. And you're going to write one report for one person. You're going to write a report for the masses out there. And as in this group here, there is such a matrix of different people who all want to receive the same message in a different way.
But what I'm saying is that we, for the majority of us, are each in Cherry Market. So in effect, that's speaking the sales page. And if you're looking at the sales page, you want the headline.
Absolutely. But you can't tailor everyone. You've got to.
Yeah, and I'm saying that, coming back to what you just say, you need to define your avatar.
Yeah, we're not disagreeing there. I agree with that totally. And what Amelia said, but you've got to be able to write a report for the masses, and you've got to write it in such a way that the people that are broad stroke will just go bumble for the yes, and the people who are.
No, I disagree with you on that.
Do you?
I do. I think you need to target your marketing at your particular avatar. And okay, you may have several different versions of.
Yeah, but there's not just one version. It's got to be broad.
No, disagree.
Next,
Yes, in your paragraph under these figures, you said that if you spend 16,000, it's a decent assumption that you can put the rents up by 5%. I wondered, therefore, if in the column that is the
rents now.
standard rents, you shouldn't have the 16,000 because you're getting that anyway. And then in the column with the increased rent, you put your 16,000 because that's the argument for the increased rent. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I think that's my natural pessimism coming out because the right-hand column with the 16,000 in was my first tab, and then it's like, what if the uplift? So, but I take your point. To make them fully comparable, you would take the 16,000 out this side, and that would answer Raj's question because it would give me a different IRR here. It might be more than that one, so it might be better not spending the 16,000. As we discussed earlier, would feel happy upgrading it, and also when a room empties, if you just refreshed it, you're far more likely to let it more quickly.
I think with Raj's point, it's always be aware that refurbishment does cost money, and if your decision is to go ahead, go ahead. but at least value it and make a financial judgment.
You might even be more optimistic in that surely, the rent's probably due for an uplift anyway. So there's probably a 5% increase on rent without spending 16 grand.
It may be.
You may well get more. If you can up it by 16 grand's worth of value, you may be able to 10% increase in rent.
I'd rather under-promise and over-deliver.
Yeah, I think the final verdict is, I don't think anyone will disagree. It's
That's our verdict as well. So
Would you not think as well that the information that you provide to a guaranteed interest of an investor and a JV partner are different, like the level of detail, because the level of involvement is different as well? And to me, I wouldn't expect somebody who's on guaranteed interest to be, looking at my schedule of works and being actively involved in all the different numbers, and I want them to know, like and trust me enough to be doing that, whereas somebody who is coming as an equity partner, I would expect them to want far more information.
I agree with the principles of that, but if we were to find a GIM investor with £70,000, from my experience of talking to mortgage brokers, we couldn't go ahead with the deal because them lending to us doesn't cut it with the mortgage. So that was why my...
All of my deals are done like that, right?
Yeah, that's how I done.
So I would argue that's
just completed.
I need to follow that up because I'm being told by every broker I spoke to that...
Come use our broker.
But they want your money as well, you said.
They're not happy with us borrowing. The only time we've got around that, unfortunately the deal fell through, was where, and you may have heard me talk about it, where we offered somebody a second charge on our property. So we actually told the broker and the mortgage company that it was equity release. It was a private equity release, not through a mortgage company.
I understand your concern. We went through the same journey. We had the same responses with the first few brokers, but we have actually successfully done several times now 100% deposit plus legals, etc., from an investor without incurring much difference in the interest rate. So I think it's just about having the right experts.
No equity release, none of our money that we present as, that's our money. It's like, it's only investor money that they went upfront with that. I'm completing on Monday with money that I borrowed over the last week.
With a mortgage?
I'm buying it cash,
right.
And part of the mortgage will be borrowed money as well. The solicitor said as long as they can prove where their funds have come from, it's always okay.
That was why I presented the first option of being a cash purchase, because that was the only way I could...
You don't need to know.
You don't borrow anything on mortgage as well.
The three that I've spoken to have all come up with that.
Let's speak to them.
Get a JM for the...
I feel like hogging floors.
No, it's been a good discussion.
One encouraging thing for me was that, compared with your room, it's less than £30,000 a room, isn't it? But having said that, that figure that you use, it depends on what the rent is.
Your rent is proportionately lower, so 30,000 is your target figure. Very good. Okay, can we go with you? Hybrid, We're going to, Red's going to show us a little bit of property filter and a deal. So,
I'm going to how to get the